It is currently November 2022, and for the last month, I have been receiving a ton of phone calls from people asking about student housing, specifically what the hell do I do? Where do I get started? How does the process work? So I figured I would put together a bit of information to hopefully save a few conversations and make it easier for everybody who wants to know. So, straight away, student housing at the University of Guelph. In your first year, a lot of people live in residence, although this year fewer people could because the university admitted more people than they had beds for. Anyways, typically after your first year, you are looking for off-campus housing. Uh, in Guelph, we do have a lot of off-campus housing that is uh, in neighborhoods, single-family residential housing. There are a few purpose-built student accommodations, but not a ton. The university itself is surrounded on three sides by a golf course, an arboretum, and a retirement community. So there is not a lot of housing directly adjacent to campus that would be considered in walking distance. Now, there are houses kind of in the neighborhoods adjacent that you could walk to campus within about 5 to 10 minutes. There's just not a lot of housing for the number of students. So most of the time, students spread out along different transit routes throughout the south end of Guelph. You've got a lot of buses, everything hubs out of the university now. So that's generally how students are commuting to and from school. All you got to do is show your student ID and you ride the bus for free. So that's the location of most of student housing. Typically, it's going to be located south of the river and throughout the rest of the south end of Guelph. That's where most of the students live, and students want to be by other students for the most case, or for the most part. So those are generally the areas you're going to target. Specifically, when it comes to timeline for looking at housing, most leases are going to end April 30th in basically next year. And we see people starting to look to rent for May 1st. Right about now, kind of October, November. It is early in the season, and there will be more people advertising for housing kind of throughout November, December. There's a lull around Christmas, obviously, and then by the second week of January, you'll see a lot more supply hit the market. However, you will also see a lot more people looking, so it's just a giant shuffle. Most of the time, everybody finds a place, but it can be difficult. It can definitely seem daunting. Um, Spots that you're going to find inventory, places to rent. Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace will have some inventory. Most of your student housing options are going to be listed for rent on thecanon.ca. That's a website run by the Central Student Association at the University of Guelph, and it is basically classifieds for student housing, textbooks, furniture, stuff like that. There will be a little bit of stuff done through realtors and on realtor.ca, but for the most part, your student housing options are not going to be found on realtor.ca, largely because realtors don't generally get involved in this. There's not a lot of need to pay a realtor to help you find a rental accommodation, which then means students are more or less left on their own to this, but it's a relatively simple and straightforward process, and it is a great life lesson to learn how to rent a place, sign a lease. Leases that you're signing are all governed by the Residential Tenancy Act, so even if an evil landlord decided to try and sneak in a bunch of clauses into a lease, they wouldn't be enforceable if they go against the the Residential Tenancy Act. Outside of that, it is a good idea for students who are looking for accommodation to form groups, because you will see more and cheaper accommodation in 4, 5, and 6 bedrooms. And typically, what we look for when we're looking for tenants is that group to communicate and respond effectively, showing us that they are capable adults able to handle the responsibility of living in a house together. I know that parents want to help out because their kids are busy studying, but straight away, your kids are not as busy studying as they tell you that they are. And also, if you don't think they can handle this responsibility on their own, then I don't know if I want to trust them with responsibility either. So we do appreciate that parents are concerned and want to be involved and have no problem having the conversations, but we do expect the majority of the communication to come directly from the tenants. I will provide a bit more content for you, specifically with some of the things that we do and some of the things to consider. But this video is already getting long. Thanks for watching. And if you still have further questions, feel free to reach out. But best of luck with your search.